did with this thing. Hold on.
I know, I think I wasn't even recording anyway.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another installment of Jews with Screws. If you've been following along, you'll know that Mike has helped me install the bathtub and rough in the plumbing for the shower and toilet. But today, the first thing we need to do is fix an issue caused by the new bathtub. I decided to splurge because my wife loves to take baths, and I bought a deeper and wider tub. Well, when we installed this larger tub, we realized it was too big. I'll let Mike explain.
We got a bigger tub, and this house, they fit every inch in here as much as possible. So bottom line is we got a bigger tub, we got to move our doorway over, but we have our toilet here that could be in our way of opening the door. So what we did, we went online, got the specs for our toilet, and from the finished wall to the front of the elongated toilet, from the finished wall, which obviously plus ½ inch for sheetrock, it's going to be 30 3/4. So we have to move this door over, but not hit our toilet. So we're going to have a 2.0 door here, which pretty much will, you know, it'll be something like that at 24 inches, something like this, give or take. You can't get the exact measurements on that, but we want to make sure we can get tile on this side of the door of the tub, because I don't want trim butting up against this tub and then you get water, you know, hitting the tub and coming down or something and rots the trim away after a while. I like having tile down the edge of my tub. So we figured if we pack this out with 2 2x3s together, that gives us 3 inches. And then we measured the trim downstairs, the smaller, I think it's smaller colonial, which is 2 1/8. And we measured from our rough opening over, once you install it, is 1 1/4 over from our rough opening. Because you have the jamb, and then you have the piece of trim that goes to the jamb, and then 2 1/8 over. Which that brings us 1 1/4 over from our rough opening. So this is going to be our rough opening here. That brings us 1 1/4 over, give or take. And that still leaves us with
1.5 inches or so.
1 3/4, give or take, for tile at least.
Right.
So it's not ideal. I'd like to have 4 inches or 5 inches or something like that, but
It is what it is.
it is what it is on these smaller, on these older houses, and I think we're gonna go with that, and it'll look a lot better, and we'll see how it works out. So that's our conundrum, but I think we got to figure it out.
So, not the biggest deal in the world, but we wanted to make sure we weren't going to end up with this situation in the future. Anyway, you can see us quickly rip the old doorway out and move it over a few inches, and in the end, you can see everything worked out fine. You also get a sneak peek at the finished bathroom. After moving the doorway, we moved on to installing the Durock in the shower. Durock is a common material you can use in bathrooms on surfaces where you know you're going to be tiling. It has a better surface to tile to and is more water resistant than sheetrock. We caught a bunch of flack for using it for some reason, but in our opinion, it's a pretty cheap and easy solution to use. For the shower walls, you basically install the Durock 1/2 inch sheets, similar to how you would install drywall. However, you need to use the correct type of screws as opposed to drywall screws. You'll also use the 1 5/8 inch screws as opposed to the 1 1/4 inch screws. On the seams, you'll add this seam tape and then cover the screw holes and seams with thin set. In order to cut the sheetrock, you can use a tool like this. You score the sheetrock, and then once you're down to the mesh in between, you can use your razor knife. Mike likes to just cut it with his grinder. If you do that, it is effective. Just make sure you take it outside because it is going to cause a mess. Finally, once the sheetrock's installed and you've thin set it over the screws and seams, you can caulk the corners. On the floor, you can use 1/4 inch sheets of Durock. Make sure to sweep and vacuum the floor real well and then wet the area with a sponge. This will help the thin set adhere properly. You'll trowel some thin set down onto the subfloor and then place your Durock sheet on top. Screw the sheets down and then use the seam tape and thin set on the seams.
All right, we just finished up cement boarding everything. We got our walls cement boarded, our floor cement boarded. Normally I like to put sheetrock first and then do cement board, but we gotta wait for the electrician. I don't feel like doing the electrical work on Rich's house. I'm gonna let my buddy do it. So we gotta wait for him, and we gotta wait for the plumber, aka me, to move these pipes out of the way. well, to move him in the right position for the vanity that he got. He's got a lot of drawers in his vanity for some reason, and the pipes have to be perfectly in place. So I'm gonna have to do that another day. That's why for a filler, we just did the cement board today. But we got all of our seams filled in, all of our nail holes filled in. Rich is gonna get ready to do the red guard next weekend, and we'll be rocking and rolling once the electrician does electrical work and the plumber fixes these pipes. We just got to insulate the ceiling and this one wall, and we're sheetrocking. So it's getting there.
Why do we do cement board and not like the Schluter?
It's just like a cheaper version. Like you can do Schluter if you want, but that's usually I do Schluter when I have a Schluter pan,
right?
And you do the wall Schluter. Like you can do just the wall Schluter if you want, but this is just a cheaper version, and we're all good to go. He'll red guard next week and get the electrical done, little plumbing, and then insulate and sheetrock, and then we'll be painting and doing tile.
All right.
One thing also we did was we had to move the door over. So we were able to move that over, keep the existing sheetrock on the outside. I don't think we're going to have to do any. We might have to do a little sliver here of sheetrock repair, but it's not that big of a deal. Just because we had to move it over because we got a bigger tub in here.
Right.
So.
And then we'll see, we should have about, what did we say, 1.5, 1 3/4 sliver of tile down here?
Yeah, 1 3/4.
After the trim's on.
Yep.
So it'll,
yeah, I like to put before I do tile, I like to put the door in and trim the door. That way I can tile right to the trim. That's my preference.
Right.
Another thing we have to do is ceiling fan too.
Yeah, bath fan.
We'll do that, yeah, bath fan. We'll do that when the electrical work and stuff gets done. We'll do it at the same time.
Right.
So that's it.
All right.